Hi, and welcome back to Better Health, Better Self with Chorley Council. Today it's Kieran again, and today we are doing session number 6, the benefits of sleep. And just to recap, last week was physical activity. I hope you found it useful and informative, and you were able to put in some practical measures to try and increase your physical activity in and around your current lifestyle. So today's topic is sleep, and we are looking to discuss, initially we're going to look at some stats around sleep, then learn the stages of sleep, so a little bit of science around sleep, the factors which can influence that, and understand the benefits of sleep for you, and then understanding the importance of sleep on someone's weight management journey. And finally, we're going to try and tackle a few sleep issues in order to try and contribute to overall healthier people. So on average, you need around between 7 and 9 hours sleep per night, meaning that the average UK life expectancy for males being just below 80 and females being above 80, 82.8 to be precise. And these stats came over from quite a while ago actually now, so these might have changed, maybe slightly gone higher. This was back in 2014. And it's just a bit of fun really, and just to put sleep into perspective, we spend almost, if you get to the ripe old age of the life expectancy, you're going to spend roughly 26 years of your life asleep. That's 30% of our lives on average we are spending horizontal in our beds. Now, this was quite a shock when I actually put it together, but it just shows the importance of sleep for people, and that amount of sleep can potentially not controlled. 30% of your life is almost out of your control, or is it? This is what we're going to look at. Can we improve our sleep for our overall health? Hopefully we can. Science behind sleep. So sleep is a time when the body shuts down and is forced to rest and repair. Sleep's one of those things that we wouldn't be alive the way we are today if we didn't get any sleep, and it's for the reasons which I've just stated, for rest and to allow the body to repair itself. There are numerous stages going from light to deep sleep, and the last stage, and probably the most common, which lots of people probably know, is REM sleep, which means rapid eye movement. This is where your eyes flicker back and forth when you're in this stage of sleep, which we'll discuss a bit more detail. This stage is normally about 45 to 60 minutes after you have actually gone to sleep, and ideally 5 cycles of 90 minutes of experience, this will be a good night's sleep. So I kind of stumbled across that one. So you go into sleep, you get to REM sleep after 60 minutes, but ideally you have a cycle, and you can see from these stages that you go through peaks and troughs, and each peak and trough lasts 90 minutes. So in theory, ideally you'd have 5 cycles of 90 minutes, which would be roughly 7.5 hours sleep if you were able to have that quality night's sleep. If you are achieving the REM sleep, which is identified here, and I put it as gold, and it is the goal really. This is the quality what we need to be getting into. Lots of people can go to sleep, but not necessarily getting themselves into the REM sleep, which is one of the most important stages of sleep. And this is basically when your mind is active and dreams are vivid, and it'll put you in the best possible position for the next day. But when people do go to sleep, they don't necessarily get themselves into REM sleep for numerous reasons. And by not getting yourself into REM sleep, you're technically not getting the best quality sleep that you possibly could do. It's entirely possible to find it difficult to transition into different stages of sleep due to your environment, distractions, lifestyle issues, and also nutritional interactions as well. So the foods that you're eating close to night can have an impact on the quality of sleep that you get. During rapid eye movement, REM sleep, of which is around, in total, if you were to get good quality night's sleep, I put 2 hours on here, I think, but between an hour and a half to 2 hours would be perfect for a collection of REM sleep. So that's all the gold stuff you can see at the peaks. So that's all the REM, the REM sleep, and that should equate to about an hour and a half to 2 hours sleep. When you're in REM sleep as well, because the mind's very active, that could then mean the body would be sprawling around. But in REM sleep, the body actually is in a form of paralysis. You can't actually move when you're in REM sleep, and that is to protect you from flailing your arms around and kicking whilst you're asleep. It's also a good time for the body to actually take a physical rest and allow the production of various chemicals that can begin to repair and then recycle the body. It's very rare actually for people to wake up for people to semi-wake up during these times. So just to summarise this section, I do realise it can go into a bit of detail, but I tried to make it as simple as possible. So just to summarise, whilst we sleep, our bodies undergo lots of important processes. Sleep helps to consolidate your learning from that day. It repairs the body and builds new muscle tissue. It also resets your central nervous system, and it will then allow you to feel rested. And sleep can also influence your appetite. So by not getting the right amount of sleep, that can dictate what your appetite is like the day after. A good amount of research as well has been done on the interplay between sleep and obesity, and there's a casual link between people who are obese and the hormone ghrelin, which is the hormone which dictates if you are full or not. So the casual link between this hormone ghrelin and obesity has found that if someone is obese and not getting the right amount of sleep, or they live with obesity and they're not getting the right amount of sleep, this can affect it can affect your hormones and your fullness, so you won't necessarily be able to really physically understand how full you're feeling, and this definitely doesn't help when you're trying to watch what you're eating. So that's something again to be aware of, and that is just a casual link, but there's been lots of studies around that. Okay, so now you understand how you sleep. Let's briefly run through the key points. So sleep is a multi-stage process involving cycles between REM and non-REM sleep. Non-REM sleep can be further subdivided into several stages of sleep, where they are numbered as ascending order in lines of deepness. So it would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, and that will be the deepness of the sleep that you're in. Stage 1 being falling asleep stage, which so stage 1 is your body's preparing for you to go into sleep. You're by no means in deep sleep. You would probably wake up quite easily if someone said something. Stage 2 seems to be important for your memory consolidation and sleep protection. Stage 3 is a stage where your body is going through some rejuvenation, and then obviously the REM sleep seems to be important for lots of complex learning, so when the mind's very active. And this is known. Children tend to be get lots of REM sleep, and this is ideal for infants developing and learning. It's not to say we don't learn when we get older, but they are, when you're younger, you're learning at an exponential rate. And again, each stage ideally lasts for around 90 minutes. So that's kind of the science of it out of the way. What factors can impact the quality of someone's sleep? So I've got 4 areas here which we want to look at: your environmental distractions, medical issues, lifestyle issues, and nutrition. 3 of these you can make impacts straight away, personally, to improve the environment, and one of them you can't directly change these, but if you were to impact the 3 other ones, you will definitely be able to influence some changes in that. So I'm going to give it away now. So environmental distractions, these are any disturbances in and around your sleep, so outside of your house, being traffic, and also the temperature in your house, the lighting in your house. These are all environmental distractions. Your lifestyle, so if there's any issues around stress, basically, I put work stress, but it could be any kind of stress, relationships, the habits you've developed over time, and we've discussed habits before, and the lack of exercise as well, that can have an impact. We've then got nutrition, so eating less fibre, so having a less fibrous diet can impact your sleep. Having more saturated fats in your diet can impact your sleep, and having higher amounts of sugar can also impact the quality of your sleep. So quickly, if you could limit your sugars or reduce sugar intake, reduce saturated fat intake, eat more fibre, which are some of the basic recommendations, and then maybe identify where your life is stressful and try to make it as de-stressed as possible. I know that can't be completely 100% possible, but are there any areas that you can control to make your life less stressful? And then by looking at specific habits you've got and then making them a little bit more positive, and then obviously increasing exercise as well. But caveat to that, maybe not exercising just before bed, because your body will be kind of flowing with adrenaline. It will be difficult to sleep, but general exercise throughout the day would be beneficial. It's kind of recommended not to do any vigorous exercise within 2 hours before you're trying to go to sleep. And then your environment, that's kind of your bedroom environment. Can you get shut out blinds? Can you control the temperature in your room? Have you got soundproofing windows? Or not necessarily soundproofing, you don't need to buy specific windows, but how can you nullify the sound of traffic and disturbances from outside? So again, I put these in the yellow boxes in green bold to identify the ones that we can control imminently. And medical issues do impact quality night sleep, so insomnia, sleep apnea, restless leg syndrome, narcolepsy. So these are conditions that someone can develop, and it is a medical issue. But with all medical issues, there can be lifestyle interventions, and like I mentioned, some of these points might help with these medical issues, but obviously not entirely. Some medical issues will need medication, shall we say, for these symptoms to try and improve one's sleep. And if you find medical issues are causing a problem, this is where I would recommend that you go and speak to your GP and identify some of the issues that you do have around sleep. Effects of sleep deprivation. So effects of your sleep, so by not getting enough sleep, in the short term you can be affected, in the medium term you can be affected, and in the long term you can be affected. Now to the group, I'm going to pause this in the face-to-face session, and it's basically asking people, what short-term effects do you feel from sleep? Do you currently have any medium-term effects on your body from lack of sleep, and do you know any? Do you have any long-term effects due to the lack of sleep that you currently have, and are they currently suffering from any side effects due to the lack of sleep? So this could be a point where you just pause it and maybe list your own. And now we'll move on. So short-term effects of sleep. So if you don't have a good night's sleep for one night or a couple of nights, you're going to feel more fatigued. You're going to potentially have a shorter temper, so maybe being a bit rude when you shouldn't be, not being as considerate as you could be, just because you've not had that. Everyone's experienced that, I think, where your temper's not quite where it should be, and you that's due to lack of sleep, or it's definitely a contributing factor. Lack of concentration, you may find it hard to concentrate, feeling tired, lethargic, making poor food choices, medium-term effects of sleep, brain fog, just you can't think clearly and your judgment's all over the place, so you're making silly judgments really. It can affect your mood, making bad decisions similar to brain fog, falling asleep at your desk, hopefully we don't do that, and poor judgment in general. Long-term effects, so that would be maybe over a week or so to a month, and then long-term will be longer than that. You can develop obesity by not getting enough sleep for a long period of time. It can be a contributor, so sleep can be one of the contributing factors towards these. So there's numerous factors that add up to then have someone have these conditions. Type 2 diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, and increased risk of other serious health conditions. I don't want to kind of dampen the mood or anything, but it's just to make you aware that these things on the end don't just pop up from nowhere. They build up over time, and sleep is just one of many factors which, if you looked at and brought to the forefront of your attention and maybe put some effort into trying to improve it, maybe it could help to lessen the chances of developing any long-term illnesses. So I wonder what side effects you were able to list on your piece of paper. Right then, moving on. How does sleep relate to diet and weight? So we kind of brushed on this already, but we're going to again put a bit more nuts and bolts behind it and a bit of science. So how does it relate to sleep? So how does sleep relate to your diet and weight? So we mentioned ghrelin. That's an appetite stimulant, and it's an appetite stimulant, yes, and leptin is an appetite suppressant. So if you have enough sleep, you're going to have low ghrelin and then a normal appetite. So the amount of ghrelin that you have will be at a normal rate, and it will be low. So low amounts of ghrelin, normal appetite due to having enough night's sleep. You'll also have high amounts of leptin, which means you'll be satisfied more after eating. So you won't feel as hungry. So you have high amounts of leptin and low amounts of ghrelin. These are the two important hormones. You will, if you don't have enough sleep, the reverse happens basically. You have high amounts of ghrelin in the body, so you do not have a normal appetite, and it makes you much hungrier. And then you have low amounts of leptin, so you don't tend to be as satisfied even after eating. So these two hormones, ghrelin and leptin, are really important, and due to sleep isn't just one consideration. Having low amounts of calories in the diet can also cause this. Being a long-term diet can also cause the same kind of impacts on your hormones. But sleep in itself will increase ghrelin and it will decrease leptin, and this will make your life trying to lose weight much harder, because you'll always feel hungry and you'll never feel satisfied. And this is kind of a recipe for disaster when trying to watch your weight. So the importance of sleep and its benefits. Sleep can basically help improve hormones, improve your immune system. improves learning, helps you eat less, reduces risks of mental health problems, reduces risks of obesity, and can improve social skills. So there's lots of positives for sleeping. And in this clip shows someone else explaining in a cartoon way how sleep can help you, but most of them points at the beginning. So improving your hormones, basically leptin and ghrelin, which we mentioned, your immune system, improves learning. So we mentioned obviously having enough night's sleep helps you to consolidate learning, and again we've discussed the impacts of eating less food. So we have determined that sleep is important when trying to lose weight. So where do you start on improving our sleep? So we're going to look at how to improve our sleep shortly after we just watch a few minutes of this YouTube clip. It's interesting, and hopefully you can take a little bit more from this.
Exhale, open your arms ahead.
So let's put that on mute. So let's skip that ad and we'll get straight to it. Full screen.
Sleep. We're also going to finish with some proven sleeping tips that will ensure you get a full night's rest and make sure you get the right amount. Before that, let's talk about the health benefits of sleep. Number 1, not getting enough sleep is linked to fat. Did you know that lack of sleep is one of the largest risk factors in obesity? In a short study on sleep duration, researchers found that adults not getting enough sleep were 55% more likely to be obese. Worse than that, children were actually 89% more likely to be obese when not getting enough sleep. Lack of sleep's association with fat accumulation seems to be for a number of factors, many of which are listed below. Number 2, getting the right amount of sleep improves your hormones. Cortisol, your stress hormone, is lowered with the right amount of sleep. Elevated levels of this hormone over time is associated with poor skin quality, obesity, and a long list of other issues. Better sleep has also been shown to improve insulin sensitivity and raise testosterone levels, which will give you more natural energy. Number 3, good sleep improves the immune system. Another health benefit of sleep is helping you fight off being sick. In a recent study, people who slept less than 7 hours a night are 3 times more likely to develop a cold than those sleeping over 8 hours or more. Number 4, sleeping helps improve learning. In a Swiss university study, 2 groups were introduced to a new language. One group right before bed and one during the daytime. The ones who slept immediately after learning new material learned the language quicker than those in the daytime. So studying before bed seems to be a good idea. Number 5, good sleep lowers the risk of developing depression. In a study of twins, researchers found that bad sleep increased the genetic risk of developing depression. In fact, it has been estimated that 90% of patients with depression also suffer from some form of sleep apnea. Number 6, people who get more sleep naturally eat less. When you don't get enough sleep, the fluctuations of hormones cause greater cravings and worse appetite control. So if you're someone who's trying to lose weight but just can't stay away from the late night snacks, getting in more sleep is something that can probably help. Number 7, sleep helps us empathize with others. Another strange health benefit of sleep is a better understanding of social cues. One study found that those who are sleep deprived lose the ability to properly recognize expressions of anger and happiness in the faces of others. Number 8, sleep improves athletic performance. In a study of basketball players, a better night's rest improved the players' reaction times, speed, and accuracy. Now that we discussed the health benefits of sleep, let's talk about how to get a better night's rest. Here are the 5 sleeping tips.
So from that video, I hope it's kind of consolidated some of the learning which you've done so far, and just reiterated some of the points that I have made, and hopefully that's been a beneficial clip for you. So let's move on. How can we improve our sleep? What can we do? So does anyone know what it means to have good sleep hygiene, or does anyone know what sleep hygiene is? Sleep hygiene, should I say? Well, sleep hygiene, basically, your habits and practices that are conducive to sleeping well on a regular basis. So sleep hygiene is the key to your sweet dreams. Cheesy, I know, but true. So it's your practice before you go to sleep. So how to work on your sleep hygiene? First of all, you can look at the time you go to bed and is it a regular routine time. So keeping your bedtime at the same time every night, 7 nights a week, is beneficial to helping your body and your internal clock get used to a set routine and fall into deep sleep more quickly. And this can be done sometimes just by reverse engineering it, working out when you need to wake up and how many hours you need to have, and just count that back to when you feel it will be ideal to go to sleep. We've also got winding down, so this is in form of taking a bath or a shower, and it's a critical part before bed because it just helps you to relax. A warm bath, not too hot, will help to reduce your temperature and is ideal for rest. You can also participate in maybe some light yoga stretching to relax the muscles. And like I said before, don't do any vigorous exercise right before bed. We've also got books, reading a book or listening to something that helps relax the mind is also brilliant for getting you into a ready state for sleep and contributing towards good sleep hygiene. The temperature of your room, so looking at the using a thermometer, looking at your environment is ideal, and you're looking between 18 and 24 degrees ideally for a good night's sleep, and I'll probably err on the lower side, and if you do find you get cold, that's where covers and pyjamas they come in. Your bedroom environment, let's limit any technology within the room, so try not to go to bed and watch TV or for that matter play on any gadgets or phones. This is all white noise and it will make going to sleep much more difficult. You will then eventually get to sleep, but you'll be exhausted and it wouldn't necessarily be a good night's sleep. So just keep in mind the environment that you're sleeping, and ideally you would also have a good mattress within a dark room. So I mentioned earlier on having a dark room, quiet room, a tidy room at the right temperature will be a good environment and help you have that brilliant night's sleep that you need. If you feel you're quiet, your mind's very active, I've also found it's good just to keep a journal at night, or maybe you're worried about tomorrow, maybe write a list of what you need to do for the following day. That can help to de-stress you and allow to clear your mind from any distractions and then get yourself into a good night's sleep. And again, just to reiterate, I think it's quite important, try to avoid watching TV and using your phone at night. I know lots of people say, well, my phone's for an alarm clock. Let's make sure we set the alarm before we get into bed, maybe. Leave it downstairs, buy an alarm clock, but just try to avoid laying in bed, playing on gadgets. That won't help. It's very easy to go on social media and before you know it, you've lost an hour of your time, an hour of your sleep, and then that will contribute towards the following day, and it may just lead to some of the negatives of not having a good night's sleep. So just try to prevent using technology. You don't want to be doing that and feeling frustrated the day after. So this is a table, for example, I put down. This would be something we would hand out in the group, and it would be kind of blank. And look at your current bedtime routine, and then look at how you could change your bedtime routine to be much more improved and help contribute towards that good night's sleep. So the one on the left, someone's going to bed and it takes 3 hours to actually fall asleep, whereas the one on the right, slightly improved, goes to bed at 8 and then gets to sleep at 10. So you're getting that hour, and it's allowing the body, and I think an ideal time really to wind down, I think you should be thinking about going to sleep and 2 hours, yeah, maybe an hour at least, but if you can get 2 hours before sleep, and in them 2 hours, that's you kind of winding down. You know, you've had your evening meal, and this is all about winding down. And the good example would be to have a shower at 8, This is just based on a normal person, maybe just going to work 9 to 5 and having to get up for a normal kind of time. And it's ideally have a shower, maybe listen to some calm music, read some pages of a book, write a list of things to do, and then go to bed. You can't see anything on there with technology. By all means, there can be some technology on there, but that's an example, and that's an improved version from the one on the left, which shows someone spending half an hour on Facebook, half an hour an hour in front of the TV, then having something to eat, so the brain's stimulated, they're not quite ready to go to bed, they're maybe a bit bored, so they'll have something to eat, they then have that, think I need to go to bed, they get in bed, look online for another hour, and eventually fall asleep because you're fast, because you're exhausted, and then you will have that night's sleep. But you got to ask yourself, if you did the left routine as opposed to the right routine, would that, do you think, improve your sleep or worsen your sleep? That's something that you've got to think about. And this is just a tool for you to look at. I'm not saying you have to do it, but if you were to do it and able to do it, this will contribute towards being able to get that quality night's sleep where you get into the deep stages of sleep, the REM, and you can get into them cycles of 90 times 5 throughout the night. So these are some practical things that you can do. Just look at your environment and then maybe look at your sleep routine. That's been quite a long video today. I know there's quite a lot of detail in that earlier on as well. That's just gone over the half an hour mark. So thank you for staying with me and staying awake, hopefully. And this point in the session is just about setting your own smart goal for this week. So it could be something entirely different. But you could also set one up maybe around the sleep environment. Is yours perfect? Could it be, or is there room for improvement? Possibly. I'm just going to leave that out there for you to make that decision. So let's make some goals. Let's make them specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. Again, to reiterate, the reason why we do this is just to make you a little bit more accountable to the goal that you're setting, and you can look back over that week and really get to the point of, I've achieved my goal, because it's not big. Okay, thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed that, and we will see you next week. Thank you. Bye.